Hello and good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Fantastic weather I see from Austin at Christian's side. And here we start with the unexpected and yet the expected. The unexpected was that we might have Clint Oram with us today. And as a matter of fact, we did a little jump in and exchange and are very grateful that we have Christian Better for the second time with us, as he gave us the honor earlier in another talk when we had a lot of topics on how the development is going forward, what we learned, and how Sugar is adapting to the needs of its customer very smartly. And it is very valuable to have that opportunity to have you, Christian, a second time here. And we look forward to another opportunity when we have Clint as our guest. Now, saying this, what I am really curious about? You are still the man in the front line together with your professional um, people in the customer or at the customer sites, and that is the important part. Such as we are looking forward that we on our topic what we have today, such as will AI replace sales reps or will it make their lives easier, to put the positive in the um, later part. That we have here a lot of stuff to discuss. Welcome, Christian, and thank you again that you jumped in for Clint.
Thank you, Ralph. Thank you, Marshall. Happy to be here again, and happy to cover for my boss, Clint, who had an important customer meeting today. So anyway, it's always a pleasure to be here with you, and it's a fun conversation and a very timely and fun topic to work on.
Timely and fun topic to work. Oh, sorry, Marshall.
No, I was just saying it's much appreciated, and we understand the customer's got to come first. But it's not like you're just a replacement. You know your stuff, and you're great to talk to. That's why you're back a second time, and we are quite happy.
I appreciate it, Marshall. And I have to take objection with one thing you said. We are not here to replace humans. That's, I think, no harm to humans is mission number one. If this technology harms humans, I think we're all in trouble.
Well, that gets that first question out of the way.
That is a fantastic first statement. Thank you, Christian, for that one. So we can jump directly into it because we are very much in that topic with a lot of people from the market, researchers, analysts. We are looking into primary research with the SMB group. We had our colleagues and from Michael Wu, we had Laurie McCabe with us when we're discussing these. So we have with the audience shared several perspectives. And now we have the honor and the pleasure to get your practical feedback from customer sides and what your plans are in helping people to get better in what they do. Where is, from your perspective, the aspect where generative AI is helping salespeople? And is there enough bang for the buck? How do we still see that hype in the moment?
Yeah, I think we're all figuring that out. I think the entire customer-facing stack, the sales stack, the marketing stacks, every player in that stack is pursuing, where do we fit in? How do we use this technology for us? So kind of gonna have to start with some of the fundamentals. We're here to create both a great customer experience and we're here to create a great employee experience. So when we're looking at, say, for instance, if we're looking at the employee experience, how we think about it, Sugar, our users of Sugar, which are typically a salesperson, a marketing person, a service person, how do we make their life better? How do they make them more efficient and ease their career path in the organization? We have a great opportunity. And we look at it from the perspective of, we always have junior people in the organization and we have senior people in the organization. The senior people have been around, They are skilled because they've been very successful. They know how to do their job in their field of expertise. They know how our organization works. And then we have junior people that, as our company grows or we need people retire and we need to replace them, we bring in junior people that need to do a job. And here, on that aspect of things, we have a real opportunity in AI by making the experienced people's job more productive. Basically, have them use their experience for effect by maybe having AI helping with some more of the drudgery work, some of the more routine work, basically things they know they need to do, but they might consider tedious and not the best use of their time. So we have an opportunity to make them more productive. But at the same time, the junior people that doesn't know all that. They don't know what the best practices are. They don't know how to best approach a customer. They don't know who in the role of a customer they should be approaching. What is the right mix for the size of the opportunity? For them, we can make them more efficient by helping them and guiding them through the best practices. And the AI can evaluate this and give the right results for a lot of different use cases. But those are the general thinking. How do we take a senior rep and make their life better by making them more effective, using their senior expertise more broadly, right? Whereas a junior rep, how do we teach them what to do? What's the next best action that they should take, and help them do more of it because they will then be effective. That's a core thing that we're looking to enable the humans, right? We're not looking to get rid of humans. We're enabling the humans to adapt to what they're best at. Where are their expertise? Where can we use their skill sets best and create a most efficient organization underneath us?
I embrace that wholeheartedly, especially from the perspective that what you described as the repetitive work, I'm a bit more provocative. I talk very often about time thieves, and to get them rid of my desk and get the brain and the tongue and the heart and everything towards the customer and drive the progress. That is my clear plan.
Yeah, we have it in our tagline, no busy work, right? No busy work. One of Sugar's key concepts. So when we market the product, sell the product, develop the product, is we're looking for what can this product to do to eliminate busy work, to bring out the capabilities of the human and let the human shine in their job. Because if we, especially in sales, like we will always say that, in sales, you're never going to uncover any opportunity for your sales organizations unless you speak to somebody, unless you have a human engagement, where you could identify an opportunity or pain that you can associate with the products that you represent. And we just need to be able to have more of those and bring them to the right people. And having those human conversations, getting people in front of people as much as possible, eliminating the busy work. If we accomplish that, we've done a huge favor for our organization.
So that is definitely a powerful ability to take away the busy work. But what is there beyond that? I mean, yes, AI can write an email for you, but what are some other specific scenarios where it is helping the sales organization?
And that's where it gets interesting. I think all of us have adopted, generative AI in some level. I had a lot of fun creating a lot of artwork. I decorated my office with all kinds of imaginary thing that I created on DALL-E. I've already my Google searches are always now enhanced by, GPT. I have Google's version of that is giving me the first thing they give me is a GPT answer to my whatever I'm searching for. That's already happening. Google's betaing that, and people are starting to use it. I think people are already doing kind of the creating of the letters. So the challenge to vendors like us is like we have to do something differentiated. We can't just create another platform to do a prompt generator, right? That's no added value. We just can't be a prompt generated. So what we're looking at is how can we use the prompting techniques to merge the GPT language model with information that we have in our CRM. Our CRM contains so much proprietary information for our customers, about their sales process, or about their products, so much knowledge is in there that we can apply this language to for different cases. So some examples of what we're looking for. We're basically producing, say, a taxi report for our customers. So we have a beta program in place where we're testing out internally and with customers 5 different use cases of GPT. So for instance, one of them is this taxi report, which is a summary of the relationship, where the model is going out and looking at all the different data and writing that up in a nice summary for a sales rep that can basically, on the taxi or an Uber on the way to a customer, get a summary.
The summary, such as what you have to know about your customer you're driving towards.
Exactly. All the key use cases spelled out for you, told in a narrative form, which these language models are good at putting together. So here's a MIDI report, as condensed as we want it to be, of these are the people that are active, these are the people that are communicating with other people in your organization, open customer service cases, opportunities that are there, problems with the relationship, all these things, describing them into a compelling way, a very consumable way for the rep is very valuable. By doing that, that's a productivity thing. Every rep kind of knows that if they should really go into, before they visit a customer, they should really go in and research all aspects of the relationship, before they go out. But in reality, time flies and you're busy. So if we can do that in an effective way and knowing that we're using our AI smartness to put it together in an effective manner, that's a huge case. Similarly, when a customer service agent, so in service, when somebody's calling in with an agent question, then
that is the applause. Sorry.
Right. Accepted. So customer services have that same need, where they have the need of quickly kind of getting to the root of the problem. Sometimes customers don't express the problem, in a way that the agent understands appropriately.
True.
Miscommunication is the root of all evil, right? Wars have been started because of that. So sometimes
money is off the hook then,
right?
If it's no longer the root of all evil, I can have some.
Yeah, well, I'm sure somebody is paying you a lot, Marshall. But if you look at that, and you have a customer service complaint, getting the context quickly for a service agent, getting that summarized so they might learn a little bit more of why is this happening? Are they having product problems? Are they repeated product problems? Are they upset about some kind of AR billing issue? Having that worked out pretty quickly is really effective. So that is valuable. Other areas where we're giving that assistance is where we're trying to do something is with next best action. Is back to the junior rep, who doesn't necessarily know what to do. Being able to figure out what is typically done, how do we express that? How do we merge our knowledge base, all the sales training material we have, the product marketing material we have, the support material we have, to come up with an effective next best action that actually is likely to move the ball forward with whether it's service, sales, or marketing.
And it's timely. Yes.
Right. And it happens quickly. One of the marvels of this is how fast these responses are given to you. So you basically can react in real time. So these are real-time AI models that are coming up with answers on the fly. Then if we switch over to marketing in a little bit, so marketing is a more of a mechanical. Marketing is mass communication. That's communications at scale. So what we're looking to do is to make that more effective, make the marketing campaign creation more effective, make it more relevant, make it more personal. If our goal there is we've in our initial use cases, we basically have auto create a campaign, whereas we have a campaign to this specific segment, auto create the campaign and come up with appropriate messaging and graphics for a campaign. Basically, give the marketer a draft at least of something they can then fine tune and put human touches on, and then make it quicker to put together the content instead of having to write it all in line. But in the future, what we're thinking about is how do we make that then even personalized for each recipient of a message? How can we tune that campaign message with AI generated content that adapts to elements kind of in the prompt based on demographics from the individual recipient. That can go down to elements such as language. Can we dynamically change language, to the messaging? Can we base it off of the products? How can we incorporate the GPT model into one-on-one relationships? And so these are things we're testing out. We're testing them out with customers, not only for their effectiveness, but also for cost. Cost is a big factor in this. This technology is expensive. It's expensive to create the language models. So that means that people that own the language models are needing to recoup the money. So that means that vendors from us, we might not own the language model itself. We might use a language model that we're buying from somebody, OpenAI, from Amazon, from a few different large vendors that can afford to build them. But they're charging us back. So as our customers consume this content, what is it costing us as an organization? How is it being used by our customers? How do we create an economical model for what do we charge for it? Do we include it as a free entitlement in our product? Do we charge differently for it? Do we charge by consumption? How does the market want to pay for these services that ultimately has to be paid for by somebody? So we're still in the phase of like, we have some test cases that we have created that we think are differentiated. They're different. They're not just another repeat of doing a prompt that we don't think adds any value, right? But so we have differentiated use cases. We're refining those, making sure that they're valuable amongst our test customers, and then we're figuring out the economic model of it. How is this feasible to deliver? And we're taking our time to get that right, because we're not the largest CRM company in the world, so huge cost differences can make a difference for us in our ability to deliver a product. So we need to get that right.
Yeah, I'm especially glad that you brought up marketing in this discussion, because very often when we're talking about AI, it's how it affects the sales department or how it can move things forward in the service department. Marketing doesn't get mentioned that often, which I think is a disservice both to marketers and to the product.
And it's probably the one area that needs a lot of assistance. Like we have AI models in some of our existing marketing products already. So for instance, we have the ability to generate AI-driven social media posts. So for instance, and it's a very powerful and popular thing to say, generate me 20 variations of a social media post. And then a human takes a look at them and makes sure that nothing odd is being proposed. So you kind of validate them. And then you schedule them. But like the ability to click a button to generate 20 viable variations of a social media post and then scheduling them, it's an incredible time saver. Yeah. And as we apply that to generating emails and more sophisticated landing pages and such that marketers deal with, there's a lot of productivity that you can gain from it. And then taking it to the next level is how to take that productivity and also do it on a one-on-one basis, kind of make it dynamic, make it so that it adopts in real time for the particular recipient. That's exciting.
And I believe that even that you are not a call center company, the assistance in those inside sales areas where a lot of communication via phone or automated video calls is the standard these days, that a living and active integration into a CRM system is the real beef, where you can show your expertise, such as in the Texel report for the sales rep on the road and on the go towards a customer, the contact to the inside sales folks on the horn and by video is the next important thing, such as we know where you are, we know who you are, we know what you have bought, and if you have a problem, we are with you. That is not always service. That is also a lot of inside sales and supporting in a not as you are in trouble manner. Yeah. And giving them some smart assistance, such as, you are in that plan. Would you like to switch to another one and test it? Yeah, that is not the typical approach of the sales rep when he is in a hurry, but it is, when you have in a team setup more people which are jumping into the needs of the customer, and their AI can be a helping hand, such as the smart suggestions. Like when you integrated your first step artificial intelligence approach, and you gave them the hint for the low-hanging fruits for the sales reps that could be also even transformed into the inside sales world, such as there might come up that topic. And if that topic comes up, here is your plan, what you can talk about and where his benefit is.
Yeah, and I think that it's kind of close to the heart of the promise of CRM, where the quote, 360 view of the customer, right? That is the promise of a CRM, is that we are the place where you should know everything about the customer. But in practice, there's so much information, and even if we have it all in CRM, it's not always that easy to bring it up in real time as you are a customer service agent, right? How you don't have ultimately that much time to go check here. Are there any opportunities? Are there any open cases? The ability to bring that in front of the agent in real time is where these tools can make an advancement. They can make an advancement of surfacing relevant information more quickly in real time to the customer.
And I also see a fantastic potential to your partners where you are in the arena of configure, price, and quote, that with certain indices and certain learnings, you can structure offers even smarter than you are doing it right now.
Yeah, and I in one of the areas where like Sugar is really strong with manufacturing organizations. A lot of our customers are manufacturers. 30% of our business is manufacturing, and we look to serve those customers better. And our primary method of serving those customers better is tying the front office to the back office. So bringing ERP information into the CRM. And that's where we're also starting to deliver a value proposition of using ERP information inside of CRM to help our sellers react to all that information about what their customers are actually buying. So there we have real-time capabilities today, where we are able to bring in ERP information, bring in orders, bring invoices, invoice line items, product catalogs, and capabilities into Sugar, and give the sellers recommendations of like, these people are purchasing product A. Customers like that also are purchasing product A have been purchasing product B as well. Give them specific tactical advice of what the product mix should be based on successes we've had across the board. That's an AI-driven capability that we think our manufacturers are benefiting from. Also, we're seeing demand for sales enablement in real time. So basically, our sellers who deal with especially like complex product catalogs, complex solution sets, thousands of SKUs, very technical engineering-focused SKUs. How do we bring the right SKUs into a conversation as quickly as possible with all the relevant, talking points about those SKUs to educate the customer on why they should consider these SKUs in addition to whatever they're else purposing. That complex relationship, tying the product catalog together, the purchase histories together, looking at the best-in-class customers like them, and making intelligent recommendations of how they should be purchasing is a big capability that we seek to deliver to our customer base.
And always tempered, as you say, by the human intelligence at the top of it.
That's right.
No discussion of replacement, only of enhancement.
No, we believe the human has to evaluate that and present that to the customer. They can make it clear that they're being helped by an AI. It's even an asset to the human to say, hey, I have this strong AI engine behind me that's supporting me in processing through these millions and millions of data records to give you the right recommendation for your use cases as we're talking about it. I have this incredibly powerful, strong technology behind me that I'm delivering this content for you so that we can discuss it as humans to see if it's right. But it's a value add for me as a human and as a vendor to you to have this technology to help support this buying process with this great information. So human still, I don't think any of us are accepting the AI, at least the current generations. It's a useful data point, right? But we're not 100% accepting anything that's being said. We're specifically being warned about hallucinations and lies, and we don't want to be misled. That would be a mistake. So we're aware enough, certainly in the current generation of product.
Yeah.
It's a supporting engine, incredibly valuable, super interesting, fun to work with, but we have to learn how to use it for effect. And that's a training challenge for all the organizations that are looking to deploy this, where we have to have rules of conduct, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Here at Sugar, we're adopting like an AI rule of conduct. How do we treat AI in the organization? And one of the tenets is you as the human are responsible for the content that you're delivering to a customer, right? You as a human have to sign off on it. You're saying this is true. As a human, you're not passing on AI information. As an employee of Sugar CRM, you have to validate as a human that you stand by this. So if you have to do your due diligence, double check something, that is your job to do that as an employee of our organization, Sugar, and I'm sure other organizations have the similar things. My wife is a lawyer, and it comes up in law, and as well, law is also looking to deploy AI, and so those questions: can AI, write legal briefs? And that question comes up because people are trying to do that. They're using AI. Write me a brief arguing this case why it should be dismissed or prosecuted. And there are rules that are being said. Basically, the lawyer is responsible for whatever is being said, however it's being generated by AI or by hard work. The lawyer is responsible for that. That's the same thing for us. The employee is responsible for the content and that we're delivering to our customers. We're signing off on that, even if we were assisted by AI to generate it.
A very good example, reflecting to your wife's profession and her job, as there are also on the other side of the bank, the judges, which have guidance by their AI systems. And now, if you reflect who has created the programs, were these the underprivileged or privileged people? So what is in the AI system? Some German ethic commissions on artificial intelligence was very much focused on the topic that people of color, women, and some other specific candidates might get not as being judged in the same manner as males, white, old, and I just was falling into that trap when I had a strong discussion with my wife, such as she said, just look into the examples of artificial intelligence-driven cars, autonomous driving, what problems they still have. And if you have 75,000 lines of code and only 3% are not correct, what can disasters happen by that coding? Yeah. And that is so important that you reflect the code of conduct, that you reflect that the human in the loop is most important, and that we have the job enablement for the starters and the job enrichment and getting more productivity for the seniors. That is a very, very good, strong message I hear here.
Yeah, and the ethics is complicated. The questions about bias,
definitely.
Implicit bias in the models, those are complicated questions that certainly I'm not an expert on, but that I think we just need to be aware that these questions are there, that they haven't been resolved yet. They haven't been resolved to everybody's satisfaction yet. And as we deploy and build our own more simple codes of conduct, that we build codes of conduct that acknowledges that there has to be checks and balances.
It is very interesting to see that in the moment, as we are talking, there is only one legislative initiative officially in the whole worldwide existing. That is from the European Commission, the Artificial Intelligence Law Act, which is under development. And if you check that against the existing most fabulous 25 generative AIs or large language models, none of them is meeting the rules and regulations. The best fit is roughly 35 to 48%. Not even that they go for 50% of coverage, what a potential law or framework in law could mean for them. Yeah. So I am feeling very comfortable if organizations like yours are giving themselves the code of conduct and a technology framework to follow to do a proper auditing and to do a proper service, such as we have our what is the security belt, not in a plane but also in the car.
The seat belt, yeah.
The seat belt, thank you. That the seat belt for doing it proper in the technology and that the foundation is solid. I think that is a very important self-regulating aspect where you see those people which are taking the responsibility to not deliver something making others nervous, but to go into the right approach. Yeah.
Especially in our field, we're sales and marketing. We're customer and prospect facing. We're speaking to the outside world. We're representing the company to the outside world, and that's where there has to be training, there has to be guidance, there has to be rules of conduct as how can you use this, what is acceptable. There's a lot of pressure to use it, right? So we, like even inside here at Sugar CRM, in our internal use of technology, there's a lot of suggestions. Can you use AI for this to generate this content or this graphic or these letters or starting of points of memos? Can you use it as a productivity tool? And we wish to do that. We wish to do that, but our compliance officers are on the ball and developing those rules of conduct and then we have to make sure that's trained. And that's for every sales organization, every organization in general. They have to think through those things, have the rules of conduct, try the best they can to follow the fast-moving technology and the law that typically trails slightly behind.
What are your personal reflections on how, aside of the prompting, how AI could assist us in language to the system, such as visit reports, retrieving dedicated information like your taxi report, as you called it, so that I'm having something printed or I'm reading through some stuff and I would like to dig deeper and want to have it sitting in the taxi, not for my cabby driver to be listening, so I have it in my earphone. But is that applicable? Is that something you are looking into to get something out of the system in language as well, spoken language, to the phone?
We're focusing on text and actionable items right now. I think language becomes as a way of communicating something. We are driving at Sugar specifically. This is very Sugar focused. So at Sugar, we're very focused about driving sales engagements with humans. We're not in the business of deflection. So say even in our service use case, we're not very focused on deflecting customer calls or having customers help themselves. We're looking at creating a very positive, high-touch human engagement. That's our marketplace of mid-market B2B relationships. We're looking to connect human relationships and make them as powerful as possible. So we're not looking to deflect and automating speech or anything like that. We want it to be delivered by a human, but support the technology from the human. But
I don't want to deflect humans. I don't want to get rid of my customer or get him into a corner, help yourself.
No.
I was much in the laziness department, such as keying in visit reports is not my favorite task. Getting a business card into my system is not my favorite task. retrieving information I'm too lazy or too stupid for. And the AI is helping me not only in that smart tax report where I have the benefits, but for instance, covering the buying center. And I have only some of the persons on my radar, whereas you have smart tools in your CRM where you either with a partner product from Kevin Dixon or another opportunity where you can really have the sweets and my hands. Yeah.
Yeah, so that a lot of those conversations are happening in the email type of systems. So like
Okay.
we're capturing meeting agendas, notes, emails, setting up meetings, and following up on meetings. A lot of that is text driven. That's captured by Outlook, Google Suites, that type of information. And the way we perceive that, our job as CRM vendors is to connect to those systems. We're not going to be an email system. We're not going to be a calendaring system. Office 365 and Google do a fantastic job at that. They've cornered the market on that. And so our job is to have seamless integration where all that information is being brought into CRM. And then that becomes a part of the knowledge base of our CRM system, where now the AI models can apply that and use it for effect, just like any other keyed in information. So the more thing we can draw from others. Other than that, like there's infrastructure. So typically when we talk about voice, and if somebody wants to dictate, any Google phone or Apple phone can dictate things and turn it into text in real time these days. So that's the infrastructure we rely on to collect that information. And then we just make sure that we have that in the application itself in our database so that we apply to AI. We already do that today. Like when we have conversations recorded, so we record service conversations and we record sales conversations, and we apply AI models to sentiment score them to say, hey, the agent is being nice, the customer's being bad, whatever that is. Our sentiment models is flagging that today and routing that to product managers, to sales managers, to service managers. So that's being done today fairly effectively.
Wow, that is interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
And
Yeah.
and interesting not by simply saying, okay, what me worry, but oh wow, that is interesting. Such as from that we have quality initiatives, we have initiatives in getting better, and training people on dedicated specific things which can happen. Yeah, preparing them to be prepared. Yeah.
And the fun thing about CRM that I think is unique in this space that I think we all enjoy is that it's not always the CRM vendor that's inventing the capabilities. The customers invent capabilities. They use the tools we have to invent processes and new capabilities on their own. And that makes it so dynamic and fun, sometimes frustrating too. when our customers go and put our platform and turn it into something we had no plans for them to do, but they use all the technology and capabilities of the platform to create something new. And like, for instance, like the example of the sentiment, if we score a call with a certain sentiment, that sentiment flag can get picked up by business process engines that we already have. So the negative call related to a product can easily be routed and escalated to product managers in real time using processes that the customers build. So we like at Search CRM to be customer focused. That's probably a good idea for everybody. So we listen to these use cases that people are demanding. So I think even with AI, people are being challenging us today with, can I use AI to do this? Can I use AI to correlate this quote to other quotes to identify a project that's generating quotes from possibly different vendors? Can I use AI to understand why they're really the same project? Those type of challenges we're being met with today, we're being asked with, they're always in the back of our mind is how do we create tools to support as many of those flexible use cases as possible. But that is to me one of the most fun, personally gratifying parts of this job is to see customers use the platform technology to invent things that we never even anticipated.
It sounds like there might be some interesting case studies coming out in the weeks and months to come in that case.
Woo-hoo.
Absolutely, and we haven't scratched the surface of what generative AI is able to do.
Yeah.
You've probably seen it, but we also have generative AI that is assisting developers, where
Yes.
developers, people who write code in certain languages, we write in PHP and JavaScript. There's generative AI capabilities that basically make them more effective, where they could write a prompt of what they're looking to do, and whole blocks of code gets generated, and possibly make those developers more effective and write more correct code, make less syntax errors, make like less typing mistakes in the code to create a better. So more use cases are popping up every single day by all the different vendors, and people are trying to apply this technology, and we haven't seen like the beginning of it even in sales and marketing. There's going to be so many interesting things. Like hopefully Sugar CRM contributes a whole bunch of those interesting things. But the entire stack of vendors are coming up with use cases we never dreamed of.
Yeah. What have you seen in these young opportunities since the last introduction in the last November of ChatGPT, that curious or very innovative customers have established combinations of utilizing your product and getting some stuff done where you were positively surprised?
I think like to Marshall's point earlier, talking about
Mhm.
marketing, marketing is one of the areas that is pushing this heavily. That they're looking for productivity gains. So we're seeing there in the social media where we're looking wherever we need to communicate innovatively, differentiatedly in a mass market, generating those communications quickly, adapting quickly to responses, adapting quickly to the environment they're in. That is really powerful, and we see people are doing super interesting things with that.
Sweet.
That
Very
is impressive. Yeah. And I was curious if you know of a customer in detail, what they've tried aside of the marketing approach, and where they have their first steps forward, from being a sales rep in sometimes roles. I look for where is my next potential deal. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the most established success we have now are customers who are using the conversational aspects, where we're pulling in the emails, pulling in the calls information, and using that to score sentiment and steering it towards sales leadership or service leadership for coaching. That's the most established and innovative use cases. The beta programs, I'm not really free to talk about yet. I can't name customers. I can't talk about them, and we just started a few months ago, so I don't think we have a lot of established results yet. We're trying to refine our use case, and the customer is looking to incorporate it in their use case and hasn't been deployed at scale yet. So we think over the next 6 months or so we'll have that scale. Yeah, I think we'll probably have some early use cases to talk to. We're meeting in London in a few weeks.
That was my guess, that you
Yeah.
are just
Yeah.
keeping some secrets.
We're for the rest of anybody listening, we have an analyst event where we invited Marshall and Rolf to London, where we're speaking to them, and we want to talk about this, and so we have a whole presentation on AI there. So I don't want to speak out of turn.
Oh, I don't think it's possible for you to speak truly out of turn. You're one of those people up there near the top. If it comes from you, we can trust it.
Yeah, I try to stay on message, but sometimes I fail.
Fair. So I'm interested that language recognition is one of the topics, as you just mentioned. I'm especially interested in it for sentiment analysis. As any of us might guess, while the words between languages can be translated easily, the feeling behind them, the mental process that creates a certain way of speaking isn't always as easily translated. So how much is that language recognition a factor?
It's behind. It's behind. English is clearly dominant in our ability to do the language processing. We don't support as many languages as we would like. English is clearly dominant. It's the most accurate models. It's what we develop for, and then to a lesser extent, German and French, the Western European languages, come right behind that. And then even further off, there's less in that. There's probably language models that are being developed in China that we're not as aware of and don't necessarily even have access to, that serve those markets. They're pretty advanced, but we don't see them in our day-to-day CRM world. In our data CRM world, as we talked about bias earlier, there's a bias towards English and always kind of a secondary motion to try to catch up. Our vendors of models are catching up and deploying them out. They roll it out in English first, and then as that catches hold, typically the Western European model languages comes after that, and then it trickles down as they're successful and demand from the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Well, I'm an old Star Trek fan, so I'm always happy to hear that the universal translator is coming closer.
Yeah, when we see it in Klingon. But yeah, it's not quite there yet. Universal translation, like we have universal translation in the product today. Like we're able to take written text in any language, in Chinese and in Japanese and Korean, and do real-time translations into English or to whatever language. That's built into the product. The translation of text is well suited, but the language models and the scoring and the AI application of that is not quite there.
But it is very interesting, as we touched that topic last Tuesday with our guest Robert Richter, as he was indeed creating a blog where he was in a Star Trek uniform, holding one of these universal communicators and making jokes about what a side of ChatGPT is very useful, and that they have a favorite tool where they do the translations with, as they have the challenge in their organization to be up to speed in Spanish and some other languages, which are not the day-to-day language to talk to. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
translating.
he enjoys it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that's a good example, like translating humor. It's not
right.
Very different.
Just imagine you have to do, as you are partly Norwegian, if I recall right,
Yeah.
If you have to get this from English to Norwegian, yeah? And that is something, yeah?
I know that the Swedes never appreciate the Norwegian jokes about Swedes. They just don't understand them.
That is an interesting topic, as I have a Norwegian customer who is on the Swedish Stock Exchange. So they have their difficulties on these things, vice versa. Coming back to the sales rep and his potential concerns, I had a bit the impression that a sales lead, such as the sales lead manager of a region, could get to push its people to their limits, such as in, hey guys, if you are not a bit faster in doing your offers, and if you don't speed up, I can let ChatGPT do your job.
I never heard of a sales leader like that.
Well, it's not too far away.
I'm joking. That's most sales leaders will.
I was honestly provocative, yeah, such as if somebody throws away 10,000 people and then hires 3,000 again and says, we are so fantastic and we're doing so good, I have my personal concerns. Yeah. So leadership has something to do with heart, brain, and the combination of empathy and all this. And so my concern is that these negative scenarios are a bit to chase productivity, to encourage them instead of motivating them. And it is between the whip on the galley and the drums which are playing, such as row faster. Yeah, row faster. But is there a sense in it? Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, I think the bottom line is you have to be effective. You have to be effective at what you do. And if it ever turned out that the AI was more effective than the human, that would be, we're going to have to find something else to do. I don't personally believe that. I believe that the AI as it is now is mathematical models and statistical, and there's a role for human genius. I think even the lowest human has more genius than an AI. And I think that is a quality of humans that I hope will always be there and differentiated from machines, and that machines will always assist us. That's
and I still go for the empathy part.
Yeah, and that's who knows what's going to happen in the future, but that's the future that I wish to live in.
That is a very cool statement. Yeah, and can go and can embrace that. Yeah. So it is to make them better and to enable them and enrich it, as we started in our conversation in the general framing. Where do you see, as you described, where you would like to live in an AI created world? Where do you see personally of the official statements? Where do you see, as Christian, your perspectives in AI?
I think like back to the little question of do more, do it faster, right?
Yeah.
I think there's no question we live in a real-time world.
Yeah.
Things happen, and the expectations are that things are to happen very quickly, right? Vendors have to communicate with customers very quickly, pretty much in real time. And that can be stressful for everybody involved. As the pace increases, the number of emails increases, all the transactional pace increases, because we have so much information in our world today and so many things to consider. My view is that the AI can help make that less stressful, in that it can process all this information and give us the guidance we need as humans to do that real time, to accomplish the real time inevitability. We're already there. We are working in real time, globally 24/7, right? That's happening. And we have all this information available to us that we have to process and have to use in our daily decisions. That's a reality. And I think AI can help us accomplish that and succeed in that environment and do it correctly, because we've processed information and see it right and not missing stuff. So we could do it more precisely, more effectively, less stressfully, but still, as human, live in that real world, live in that reality, and do a good job.
I love that statement, especially why, aside of our dear friend who is efficiently trying to sail his boat through the Adriatic Sea, therefore he is not here with us, Thomas, that he is very much Mr. Efficiency, where I'm looking for being Mr. Empathy, and between this is the effective utilization. So you started as the man in the middle with whatever it is, empathic or efficient, it has to be effective. Yeah, and I love that one. So where do you see the expectation of your customers is going to?
The customers are challenging us. They see the promise of all these tools. They see the promise of all this technology, and they know that there's promise. They don't know exactly where they're going to benefit from it, but they're looking for vendors to demonstrate how they're going to be relevant and contribute to that. So they like we put together videos that, I think if we haven't shown them to you already, we will be showing them to you shortly, of how we envision AI working in our platform to benefit our customers. So our customers aren't demanding anything specific. They're not saying, here's the use case I want you to solve with AI. They're not. They're saying, this new technology is available. It looks incredibly promising and revolutionary. If we're picking vendors, we want vendors that understand how to apply it and use it and have a vision for it. And that's what they're challenging us to do. So we are putting together the use cases that we think are valuable and differentiated to show how we are thinking about this. We're not in an incredible rush to release it tomorrow. We know we have to release things in the next few months to satisfy a demand. We have to get it right, but the most thing that we're responding to is the challenge of showing that we get it and that we have interesting use cases that are well thought through and actually value added, not just alternative UI to enter a prompt, right? Not like a prompt automation tool. That's not what we want to do. We want to have tools that incorporate the ability to prompt the language models with smart information that exists in these CRM systems. I think that's unique about us as a vendor. We have such incredible amounts of information in our system, and how do we deploy them? So we're challenged to create a vision of how that turns into reality, and that's what we're doing. And then we're working out the economic models for it, the details of the use case, the biases and the legal parts of it. We're taking our time to make sure we get that right, and you'll be seeing it in a couple of weeks, and that's what we'll be rolling out as our customers are ready for it. But that's what they're asking. They're asking for a vision of being a part, and that our vendor solution has a vision that is appealing to them, but not so much specifics yet.
I'm glad you brought up user interface as part of the issue with use case. Most of us have only really interacted with AI through, as you say, the prompt engine. And there's a lot more to it than that. If you look at, especially in customer service cases, there's a lot of AI routing and call routing and tickets that you wouldn't think of in the same headspace as ChatGPT. What kind of user interface are customers looking for with their AI?
Yeah, so we still haven't finished our journey with machine learning. So
Right.
in addition to the generative models, we still have a lot of work to do with machine learning which is really very much a background task of basically routing things, using the machine to route things that really don't require a user interface at all. Maybe a surfacing of a next best action or something like that, right? But still a lot of work there on the ML side. And then on the GPT side, there it's about telling an effective story, using the language models and the image models and to create a user interface. Ultimately, our users don't care about that it's AI or GPT or whatever the model is. They're caring about how do we synthesize information? How do we visualize information? Do we do it as a chart? Do we do it as words? Do we do it words in English or in German? Those are our user interface challenges. That's not very different than any other feature that we system. User interface is always paramount. We have teams of graphic engineers, so that's all they do is they design user interfaces. And any new feature, whether it's AI or machine learning or traditional coded features, they all get applied to the same standard of creating a human interaction user interface that's effective and intuitive and shields people from the complexity of what's really going on.
Oops.
All right. That's cool stuff.
There he is, back again.
They're trying to follow up on it, but I'm thinking, I love this.
Yeah.
It's hard to be articulate when you're over enthusiastic sometimes. That's where I'm at.
I run into that. So.
But it is good to run into that in the enthusiastic way, as I believe it's nearly up to the hour, and we always love to wrap up with a statement such as, what is your call to action, or what Thomas calls it, the famous last words for that conversation, where you would encourage people to go forward with what they have at their hands?
I think that is a theme of what we've been talking about, where this is all about creating human success, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's about furthering humanity, furthering individual employees, their personal lives, their professional lives. That has to be the focus. We have to remember we're humans. We're not only money. We're humans, and we will succeed if we can bring as many of us humans along with us in this process as possible. Realizing that some of us are lucky enough to be knowledge workers, other people work in different places, but as technology has a role across the board, and we have to remember this is about creating a better human experience.
Fantastically said from that gentleman who was talking for Sugar CRM, and that behalf especially let the platform do the work. I do the claim on that part here, because today it is so well fitting to your marketing message, let the platform do the work, what you expressed over the last hour, and where we agree and what we embrace and what we find a positive message, and we're curious and looking forward. Thanks everybody who stayed with us this fantastic and informative and also entertaining hour. And thank you, Christian, again. And in lovely Austin, I guess you are back then to your summit, which is taking place there. And it is our pleasure that we can think forward and are excited to learn more, such as in your Cologne summit coming up next week, and then the week after, where the analyst summit in London will take place.
And our customer summit, we're happy that these are customer summits here in Austin for North America, then in Cologne for Western Europe, and then London for the UK and Ireland. So, and then we have the analyst event there. So it's going to be a fun few weeks. A lot of news from Sugar CRM and a lot of engagement with you and our customers, which is always fun.
And we are looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Great.
And stay with us on the next episode when we go for some proof in how organizational experience, as the combination of customer experience and employee experience, gives an interesting kick of that angle to look into. And take care and stay well. We go now